Hi, I'm Donna Jordan from Jordan Fabrics. Today I'm going to show you how to make a pattern called color crystals. Now this pattern from Cozy Quilt Designs has a nice big twin size that takes 14 fat quarters. Now we love Christmas fabrics. Specifically, we love Robert Kaufman Holiday Flourish. That's this group here. They're just beautiful. And Matt put together a bundle of 14 fat quarters that are just perfect for this pattern. The only other fabric we need is a background. And I'm going to use this light with metallic gold, and that'll give us a lot of contrast against all of these beautiful Christmas prints. So let's take these over to the studio, get everything cut, and start sewing. First step, let's take a look at these fat quarters. These all have metallic gold accents, which makes them nice and festive. We've got big poinsettias, holly, a lot of different colors, and all of them, even this one, has enough difference between it and the background, so these will all look good. So I'm going to follow the pattern. I'm going to need 1.33 yards of this background fabric, and I'm going to iron that up. Then I'm going to follow the pattern requirements. So this is a pattern we sell. It's not my own pattern, so I can't give you all the sizes, but I will tell you, Cozy Quilt Design patterns, they're really, really easy to follow. So I'm going to follow their cutting directions and show you how to stitch it up. I have all of the fat quarter pieces cut up here, and I've got my background cut, and we only have to make 2 different kind of blocks for the whole quilt. The first block takes these guys here. So we're going to take 2 of these, and we're going to make a half square triangle, 2 half square triangles. So the easiest way to do this is to draw on the back side of the lighter square, draw a line right across the middle. I'm using a chalk pencil here. You can use a regular pencil. Oops, might want to get one the point doesn't fall out on. Let's try this one. Let's take it to the sewing machine. I have the 2 squares, right sides together, and I'm going to stitch 1/4 inch away from the line on both sides of the line. And I'm just going to turn it around and go down the other side. This is an extra step that isn't critical, but I like to iron this a little to make sure that the thread stitching didn't pucker before I cut it. So now we'll take it to the cutting board, and we're going to cut right along the drawn line. Then we'll take these back over to the ironing board, and we will iron them flat with the seam allowance going toward the print. Be sure to smooth it out nice and flat so your seam allowance is going all in one direction and you're not making it bow. Now we have 2 half square triangles that are exactly the same. Flip one of them over and draw another line from this corner to that corner. Now we're going to place this on top of our other one with the background on top of the print, and the seam allowances will be nesting. So this seam allowance is going that way, and that seam allowance is going that way. So they will lay really flat. You can feel they're right up against themselves here, and we're going to sew again on both sides of that line. I'm going to iron this again before I cut it, and I'm going to slice it right along that line. Now look what we have. Two lovely squares that are already triangles all the way around. So I'm going to iron these again with the seams just going to one side. It doesn't matter which way the seams go now. Now we want to square these blocks off to 9.5 inches. And the nice thing is, as we do that, we will be trimming the dog ears at the same time. That's all we have to do to make the first block. Now, the second block. We have a center square and two matching fabrics that are going to go on the side. So this is the same print. Then we're going to use the same print again, is going to go on the top and bottom. Of course, everything will fit once we do our seam allowances. And then this is going to go around the outside. Very simple. Let's stitch it up. Let's stitch these together into a row here. As always, we're using a 1/4 inch seam, making sure everything is lined up very straight, especially on these small pieces. You want to be really straight. I'm going to finger press the seam allowance away from the light. Now we'll put this piece on the top. Again, finger pressing away from the light, and then this will go on the bottom. Now to sew these red pieces on, we are going to want to center this here. So you can either look here until you've got both triangles the same size. Obviously that triangle's a lot bigger. Or if you like, you can fold this in half, make a little mark there, fold this in half, and make a little mark and line them up. But it doesn't need to actually be that accurate because we're going to trim the blocks down to size once we're done sewing. But you want to do whatever method you feel comfortable with. I'm just going to even it up and stitch a 1/4 inch away from the edge. Now we're going to turn it around, put this red on the other side. So I'm going to move that out of the way so I can make sure I've got this centered. I can finger press these seams away from the center, but I think that this is a good time to take this over to the ironing board. This will keep your blocks nice and accurate. So I really think this is a good idea to iron right now. And we're also going to take this to the cutting board and trim off those dog ears right now because that will make sewing the other triangles on much easier. So I'm just going to line this up right along the edge of this patchwork piece here and trim that one and then trim this one. I know it's an extra step, but I think it's going to make my blocks look a lot better. Now we'll stitch this onto this side, and it's going to be nice and easy because we trimmed those dog ears off. It's real easy to see where this goes. Again, we'll center that up. I've got the seam allowances again going away from the center. A quick pressing, and now we'll trim it to 9.5 inches, just like we did with the first blocks, and then everything will be exactly the same size. There's the second block all finished, and look how nicely this is designed. This intersection here is farther than a 1/4 inch away from the edge. That means when we stitch it to the next block, we're not in any danger of cutting off that tip, and there's less bulk back here. We're not going to be stitching over all of that. We're just going to stitch over that part, so it'll be easier for the whole quilt to lay flat. So go ahead and stitch up all of these blocks and all of these blocks. I have all of the blocks finished, and I've asked Matt to come help me lay them out.
Hi everyone.
So these just go every other block. So yours go in the middle.
Sounds good.
All of these face the same way, and for now, don't worry about what color's going where. I know we're not going to put all that black in the same section.
Right, so we'll just lay them down, Donna, and then make some
yeah.
switches. This is going to be a cool pattern, Donna.
Yeah.
I really like this.
But we just have to squish them up
Okay.
just a little. We can get 2 more over there, so
Absolutely.
So we're going to have to decide if we want to do them in rows, because we could actually do a whole red row.
That's interesting.
Now that we have all the blocks laid out, we're just going to switch some things around so that we don't get 2 reds right next to themselves or 2 blacks. And there's no hard and fast rules. Just keep switching things around till you like the whole layout. Once you are happy with the layout of the quilt, pick up 1 row at a time, take it right over to the sewing machine, don't spin it around, and stitch it together, and then lay it right back down here so that you know your blocks will be facing the right way. I'm going to get all the blocks stitched up, and then I'm going to put some borders on, get it quilted, and then we'll show you what it looks like. The Color Crystals quilt is all done. I love how it turned out. The pieces are nice and big, which is nice because the Holiday Flourish prints we used, they all have a large scale, and I didn't want to cut them real little because then you lose all the beautiful poinsettia motifs. I just love how these dark blocks just pop. Really a fun, fast pattern. And it's big. It's 74 by 92, so that will look really nice on your bed for Christmas or on the back of the couch. And you know, it's never too early to start making your Christmas items. Thanks for watching our tutorial today on how to make the Color Crystals Christmas quilt. Boy, that's a mouthful. Now, if you want to see other patterns, be sure to leave your requests in the comments, and we'll try to make all those quilts up for you. Happy quilting!